welcome to my first ever allotment tour. Today is the 30th of January and I've got two very hungry robins around me at the minute that have been eating these little mealworms. My robin has got a new girlfriend, so it's really lovely to see an extra robin on the patch. He's no longer chasing her off and yeah, he's welcomed her in. So it's really nice to be able to see the courtship of those two. So there's been quite a few changes on the plot over the past few weeks. This area here, for example, used to be a massive junk pile, so it was full of old derelict compost bins and yeah, just loads of pots, carpet and glass and things like that. So I finally got this little area sorted and it's going to become my compost area. So I'll show you around it in context in a little bit, but yeah, I thought since it's going to be looking very different very soon, it'd be nice to kind of document what it's looking like at the moment. Welcome to my allotment. Lock the gate. So this is the front entrance to my plot. It's a bit of a rubbish tip at the minute. It's got lots of glass panes and pieces of wood that I need to sort. But this is my second plot on this side, on the right side. And I'll just take you through into my first plot, which is through this little bit here. And this is my shed and my greenhouse annex onto the side of it. And it's a beautiful old Victorian greenhouse that's been here for probably over 100 years. I'll do a proper tour in here another day, but a quick little glimpse. It's got a fireplace, and then the greenhouse is just through here. It's had a bit of a tidy and a clear this month, so it's looking alright actually. Yeah, all my pot storage, it's all nice and tidy. I've started to clear the beds and put all this spent compost onto the beds outside. Still got a way to go. But yeah, this space in here is ready for growing now, I reckon. Just needs a proper sort, windows need fixing. This fireplace does work, but I need to fill in the gaps along here with some fireproof sealant just to stop the smoke from coming through. But other than that, it's quite a nice little space. So as we come out of the shed, it leads straight onto this really long curved border here. And this is my mum's remembrance garden. My mum passed away about 4 to 5 years ago. And she had a lovely little garden in Kent, so I brought lots of her little ornaments and things like that up to the garden. This hellebore was lifted from my mum's front garden as well, and I love seeing this come into bloom at the end of each winter. Yeah, I've just planted it up with lots of flowers with a bit of a blue theme because that was her favourite colour. But yeah, I love this border. It's grown year on year. It started out as a little corner spot and now it's all this long border that reaches all the way down to my shed. And this year I'm probably going to extend it down to the one in the second plot. So at the front of my shed I've got lots of little shrubs in pots. This is a big tulip planter that's just got some grate to protect it from the squirrels on top. And this is my very unused fire pit. I used this loads and loads when I first built it a few years ago. But since I've been spending more and more time in my second plot, it's kind of a bit redundant space here now. So I think I'm going to fill it in and plant it up with some peonies this year. I've been saying that for the past 2 years, but I think this year I'm actually going to fill it in because it is a bit of a waste of nice growing space along here. In the spring, this is a big corner of tulips, and in the summer, Rebecca. These are all pots and stuff that I need to sort out down the side. Junk area that was a former compost bay and now it's just a bit of a tip. Down here is my worm bin and my brassicas. Now as we come along here, we've reached my huge strawberry bed. It's looking very, very sad at the minute. It's absolutely covered in creeping buttercup. Creeping buttercup generally grows in quite compacted soils, which tells me this bed needs a proper good condition. So this year I'm actually going to remove all of the plants, take them all out, give it a good weed, get rid of this creeping buttercup, and then recondition the soil and plant back my strawberry plants in it, and I think they'll just be a lot happier for it. So behind my strawberry bed is another 2 really large beds, and this one at the moment has got garlic planted into it, and down at this end there's a stray foxglove here that I need to relocate to my woodland area. I need to neaten up some of these sides. I think I'm going to remove all of the bricks this year. I used to have a really lovely kind of brick borders around all of these beds, but they're just a bit of a harbour for slugs, and I'm always kicking them out of place when I'm walking past because the paths are a little bit narrow. So I think I'm just going to remove them this year. This was the first ever pond that I made 4 years ago. It was just my bathtub from my old house that I sunk into the floor one really crazy winter's day. And yeah, it's super productive now. There's always frogs here in the summer. I've seen a couple of newts knocking about. And yeah, it's just a really great little hiding place for my amphibians. Behind the pond is a wildflower and perennial bed. So it's got lots of spring flowering bulbs, summer flowering bulbs, lots of vetch, ragged robin, hogweed. This leads down to my other big bed. This is probably the sunniest bed on the plot. I usually use this for my tomatoes or corn or squash, sometimes all 3. My medicinal herb garden, flower garden, and my herb spiral. I built this herb spiral a couple of years ago, and I absolutely love it. It's a really great way to keep all my herbs in one place. And the idea of a herb spiral is that it creates microclimates for the plants, so you can have lots of different plants that have different kind of needs and conditions all in one spot by utilising these microclimates. So for example, I'll put all of my Mediterranean and heat-loving herbs at the top, like my rosemary and my lavender. It's quite sunny, sun's blowing out all of the camera, but I hope that you can kind of get an idea what's in here. And then this leads through a little archway. I've got lots and lots of trees that I need to put up. This leads into my orchard area, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 little trees in here. These 2 are cherry trees. Oh, and I've also got a goji berry shrub as well. But these are 2 cherry trees. I've got a green gage tree, a pear tree, a Victoria plum tree, 2 other types of plum that I'm not sure of the variety, and some plum suckers that I've never had fruit off yet. I think they might be a little bit close. I think I'll make a proper video about the tree guilds at another time, but this is what they're looking like in January. I've got a raspberry patch in the middle here. Needs a bit of a weed. But I've got lots of different autumn fruiting varieties in this section. Around all of my trees are these little tree guilds. And they're just a type of companion planting that help, well, it's just a mutually beneficial relationship between the trees and the plants. And I also like to plant comfrey underneath every single fruit tree, and that helps to draw the nutrients from quite deep in the soil, because the tap roots of comfrey are quite deep and quite long, so they tend to draw up all of the things from deep down into the soil that plants or trees generally don't get too much access to otherwise. In the plum tree guild are my chives that are just starting to come through, and also my rhubarb that's starting to poke its head as well. Absolutely love rhubarb. And through this little part of my orchard here is my little wildlife stumpery corner. I get loads of mushrooms in this little stumpery area, loads of wildflowers as well, and lots of ferns. So that's what it looks like to the bottom of my plot through the archway from the orchard. And then we come through, and you might have noticed I've got a skate ramp. Don't know if you're expecting that, but I've had this for 3 years now almost. Built it in lockdown of 2020 when all the skate parks closed. And yeah, it's only 2 foot high, but it's 10 foot long and 10 foot wide and 20 foot long. and it fits in quite nicely. From the bottom of the plot, you don't really see that it's here. It's quite well hidden, and in the summertime especially, you can't see it at all through all of the trees. But yeah, a couple of big flower beds down here, and then along here as well. And this one goes all the way round the corner, all the way along my fruit orchard, right down to the pathway that splits it up, and then it's a medicinal herb garden here. So along in this little border, alongside my orchard, I've got yosterberry plants, I've got some blueberries, some raspberries, pinkberry. Yeah, I think this is, what's this one? This is a red currant. I don't think I've had any fruits off of this one. I think I planted this last year. That looks like it's budding quite nicely. This is a carnation that I got from Steve Newland on Instagram, if you follow him, Snewland97. And this is a lovely pale pink flower that smells just like cloves. And the flowers of this are edible as well. In this flower bed, I've got lots of foxgloves. I've got some lupins that are coming through. The lupins are absolutely gorgeous in this bed. They are huge. They've been growing here for about 3 to 4 years, and they just keep getting better every year. Daffodils are starting to pop up. Along here I've got what are these, like the Melton pastils? Yeah, the Melton pastils. These are a perennial, and they're a gorgeous, fluffy kind of pom-pom flower in lots of different shades of pinks and purples. They look lovely. Some hollyhocks over here. I see holly, which is a perennial, and I think that one as well. So I try to keep this bed a perennial bed, so it's not very much maintenance for me, and it just gets bigger and better each year, and it frames my skate ramp really nicely. This bed's looking great. The garlic's looking really healthy, and hopefully it'll be ready to harvest just in time for prime skateboarding season to come into full swing. Because this bed gets annihilated by flying skateboards. This here is my kitchen. I made it out of cherry tree stumps or trunks, and what were they? They were ceiling, they were flooring boards, and then some undulane roofing up on top. But actually, it's been up for over a year now. It's survived a few storms. I don't think it's coming down anytime soon. I think it's fairly safe. But yeah, it just provides a little bit of shelter when I'm doing my cooking. I've got a pizza oven here, another little oven there. Got a big work surface along here. Barbecue and a smoker. And then behind these chairs, I've got a really long borders, absolutely full of spring bulbs, and I think some gladioli and some summer flowering plants in there as well, actually. But yeah, this is what my first plot looks like from the top. And then we'll come through here to my second plot, past my skate ramp. It leads down into my new pond area. And this pond was absolutely buried this time last year. You couldn't see it. I didn't even know there was a pond here, but I've managed to regenerate it, and it's looking really nice. Got lots of little plants in there. Tried to put lots of logs around for the frogs. I still need to make a better little toad pile for them. But yeah, this little area here is looking really nice, and the ground is all planted with wine cap mycelium, so I get some mushrooms, edible mushrooms fruiting in the autumn. Through here is where all of my fruit trees currently are. I got these from Direct Plants last year, and I need to get these in the ground in the next couple of weeks. I think I'm going to make a little orchard area around here and just extend this little space. And then through here, the other day I cleared out a massive area, this here, and it was just full of old compost Dalek bins, a shitload of old pots and loads of stuff in the soil that I had to dig up and remove as well. But this is going to be my new compost area, so I'm going to have a 3-bay system, and I'm just going to build that out of pallets. So as soon as I've collected enough pallets, I'll get started on that. So yeah, it's a bit of a mess around here at the minute, but I've got another rhubarb patch here that's quite large. This is an early variety, and I think there is a late variety under here somewhere. Shit, is that it there? Yeah, I need to make sure I don't step on that. I need to clear this area pretty soon before it does start to come through. But yeah, over here, no, this isn't a bathtub planter. This is my wood-fired bathtub, and I've got to admit it's probably one of the best things on my plot. It's just a little fire pit down here, dug a little hole, and yeah, it takes about an hour and a half for the water to heat up, and it's honestly the best thing ever. There's a bit of a mess now since I've started clearing that area, but hello Robin. But in a month or so, it should be back to looking good, and I'll be sat having baths again, having evening time. My little Robin wants feeding, doesn't he? I'll go get the mealworms. So this is my Robin, my original Robin. He's been pestering me for about a year now, but we've just got a new visitor, a little girl Robin who's just behind me chirping away. She's only come and fed out of my hand once so far, so I felt very privileged about that. But yeah, she's been keeping a close eye on my Robin and watching and learning. So soon they'll be settling down and nesting, and I think they're probably going to nest in the plot next door to mine through the hedge, because that plot's empty and I'm always seeing them flitter in and out of that little hedgerow there. So yeah, I think in a couple of months' time we're going to have some little baby robins around, which would be really, really lovely to witness. So yeah, I'll keep you updated on that. So who's this one? I can tell the difference between the two robins now. So I struggled for a little while, but I've noticed that the female robin has got a slight curved kind of brown bit on her forehead, whereas my original boy robin has got like a pointy bit and he looks like he's frowning a little bit more. And this is the girl one here, so she might not feed. She might not feed out of my hand. She's only done it once. Come on. So when I did my research about robins, I learnt that only the male robins are supposed to sing throughout winter. But I've learnt that this isn't true at all, because this little lady sings her heart out. Oh, come on then. She gonna feed? Oh, nearly. Oh, she almost did, but she got scared. It's so lovely being able to have their trust and be able to watch them up close. Come on. Can you hear her singing? I don't think you'll be able to hear her, but she's singing her little heart out. I'm going to get the camera. This is the boy robin, so he'll probably come over. Come on then, get your mealworm. Take it then. This little pathway here has got a big plum tree, 2 big bay trees and an apple tree, and then lots and lots of currants. So this is a huge white currant bush. I've also got a gooseberry bush here, lots of raspberry canes, and then a blackcurrant bush here, lots and lots of foxgloves and primrose all along here, and it's planted up with wildflowers as well. These 2 big beds here housed my potatoes last year, and they were super productive. So I don't know whether to do the same this year or go back to Old Faithful in pots. I think I might maybe do a little bit of both. Oh, getting attacked. And then along this side, I've just got loads of Dalek compost bins and a few big square beds. Last year these had onions and garlic in, and unbeknown to me, these beds also had onion white rot. And it was the first year that I had used this plot for planting, so yeah, I didn't know it had onion white rot and stupidly planted all of my onions and garlic into this bed. which wasn't the best move. So this year, I think they might be flower beds, perhaps. Well, I don't know, maybe my potatoes can go in here. We'll see. Big long bed at the back that's probably going to be reserved for flowers. My beautiful, beautiful spruce tree. If you saw my spruce resin video, this is the tree that I harvested my resin from. And if you haven't seen it, you can pop back on my channel if you'd like to see what I made with it. This bed here is absolutely full of spring flowers. It's got lots of crocus, daffodil, cow parsley, and lots of cute little snowdrops. These are my favourite. I just love them. Nice little mark for the end of winter. Just to the side of my beds here, I've got a big polytunnel. This brick barbecue area that I actually tend to put grates across this and use it for drying herbs in the summer because it gets quite a lot of shade. And I've got a polytunnel here. I use this for growing my tomatoes and chilies in. Along this bed in front of my little barbecue area, I've got some overwintered celery. That's actually doing quite well. I've just made sure the roots are kept mulched. Yeah, and I've got 4 lots in this bed and a couple over in my other bed as well, and every single one seems to be alright. So we'll see how they fare. They might not make it till spring, but you never know. Might have some early celery this year. So this bed is another huge patch that houses my 4th pond. Got lots of cuttings here from this elder that I reduced. This was quite high and it was covering up the 2 plots and it was blocking out quite a lot of light into this side. So I decided to reduce this elder a couple of weeks ago, and I still need to run all of this through the chipper. So yeah, it's looking a little bit of a mess at the minute, but this is my 4th pond. Well, it's actually my 3rd pond. This one I found and renovated before the one at the back of the plot. But this one has a ton of frog spawn in here in the spring. Well, it did last year and I'm really hoping for the same this year. I'll keep you updated. We're back to the end of the 2nd plot. That's my first shed just there. And this is the 2nd greenhouse and shed here. I won't go through here today, I think it's long enough. But yeah, do subscribe if you'd like to see what's going on in the 2nd shed as well. So that's it. This is what the plot is looking like at the end of January. I thought it'd be nice to just give you kind of an overview of what my forest garden looks like. And it's going to be looking a lot different next month. So do tune in to see what February's allotment looks like.